Cheers and welcome back to another video with me, the real Jason Duncan, on what not to do as an entrepreneur. This is when you and I get together for a little drink and we talk about my experience as an entrepreneur and how it can benefit you. Now, if this is your first time watching one of these videos, I want to encourage you to go back and watch the first few videos in this series where I talk about what not to do as an entrepreneur. And I'm basing this on over a decade of experience as an entrepreneur who went from unemployed school teacher to building a multi-million-dollar business. I've dealt with all kinds of problems and mistakes. You know, God created me to be a teacher, and part of what I want to do as an entrepreneur is I want to teach people just like you how to avoid the mistakes that I made as an entrepreneur. And boy, I made a lot. It cost me lots of money, millions of dollars actually. And I want to show you exactly what not to do as an entrepreneur. Now, if you want an Instagram or YouTube guru who's never built a damn thing in his life, and you want to find somebody who's inexpensive to follow and who's exciting and may have a six-pack and can show you how they work out all the time, I'm not that guy. But you know who I am? I am the mountain guide who's been to the top of the mountain. I've actually built a company. I've actually built something worth something. And I am dedicating these videos as a teacher to help people just like you figure out how to get to the top of the mountain too. Like, you want to build the ideal life. You want to be able to live the lifestyle that you want to live, not on anybody else's terms, but on your terms. And for that, I raise a glass to you. I want to get you there as fast as possible. So we spend time together on these videos talking about what not to do. And my what not to do today that probably caught your attention, which is why you're watching this video, is don't pay taxes. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at that. You could probably just type in the little chat. Don't leave. Stick with me. But above the video in the little search bar, you could probably, you know, look for all kinds of conspiracy videos about how people believe you don't owe taxes. Like in the United States, we don't owe income taxes or FICA, or, you know, and look, there's certainly an argument to be made, but I pay my taxes. I pay my fair share of taxes, and I think everybody should pay their fair share of taxes. So that's not what this video is about. If that's what you thought this was gonna be, sorry, that's not what this is. What it is, though, it's about how to ethically, legally, morally, and just really responsibly avoid paying taxes. You know, one of the cool things about being an entrepreneur is that if you truly understand the tax code, like if you really hire a good entrepreneur CPA, like somebody who works with entrepreneurs, that CPA, that certified public accountant, that tax strategist, that advisor, his or her goal should be to get you to pay zero taxes. Now, I know what that sounds like. You're thinking, well, that's illegal. No. I'm not talking about doing anything illegal. You know, one of the things about me is I follow Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and I'm gonna make sure that I don't do anything immoral or illegal, right? That's not who I am. So when I say your accountant should be helping you not pay taxes, I'm not talking about cheating. I'm talking about doing legally and ethically. You know, the tax code, if you go to irs.gov right now and you look up the tax code, it's thousands and thousands of pages of rules and regulations. And there's actually a funny video. It's one of these funny TikTok or YouTube videos where the guy is on camera and he's looking at the person and says, so, I'm the American citizen. I need to know how much I owe you. And the IRS agent turns to the person and says, you got to figure that out. And so the person says, well, don't you know how much I owe? No, yeah, we know how much you owe. Well, can't you just tell me? No, you got to figure it out on your own with this form. Good luck. Well, what happens if I don't pay all the taxes I owe? You go to prison. So that video is absolutely hilarious, but and funny. It's satirical, but it's true. It's like the tax code is crazy. There are so many rules and regulations and sections of the code about how it applies to you, no matter what kind of business you're in, whether you're a W-2 employee right now or you're self-employed like me and so many people that watch these videos as entrepreneurs and like business owners. But the cool trick that I learned, and this is why I'm doing this video, is that the entire tax code is written for business owners to learn how to avoid taxes legally. That's what it's for. Like everybody else, if you're not a business owner, there aren't ways to avoid taxes. Sure, certainly you get child tax credits and there's mortgage interest deductions and those types of things. But most people don't make enough money or have enough deductions for that stuff to even qualify. But what you are as an entrepreneur, you make enough, well, you should. If you're not making enough money, you need to hire a coach to help you out. But you're making enough money and you'll have enough deductions that you cannot pay taxes. I'm absolutely telling the truth. You could figure out how not to pay taxes legally, ethically, morally, and reasonably, all through the tax code by using the tax code as your guide. If you don't have a CPA who understands that and is leading you through that, then you're wasting a lot of money, man. I tell you, well, let me back up and tell a little bit of my story. So and when I started my company, one of my companies, I own 8 companies now. I've owned a total of 12, but my first big company, the one I'm referring to, when I started that company, I was an unemployed school teacher. And I had no idea what I was doing. I had I was the majority owner of the company. I had a minority owner, business partner who was at the time not really involved in day-to-day operations. Actually, never was really involved in day-to-day operations. He had been a very successful entrepreneur prior to me meeting him and us coming together to do business together. And when we had our first big year, I think it was the second year we were in business. It might have been the first year we were in business. I don't remember. But we made the company was profitable. We were profitable every year we were in business up until 19 and 20. But I got my tax bill, and I'm here to tell you, I owed, I think it was like $55,000, something like that. Now listen, as a school teacher, I only made $40,000. I owed more in taxes than I used to make in income. And I joke, and this isn't indeed a joke, I joke with people, I was on suicide watch for like 6 weeks because I didn't know how in the world I was gonna handle those taxes. Like, how was I gonna pay that bill? I didn't have 55. Like, sure, the company had received money and there had been distributions to me and my business partner, but not appropriate distributions. We didn't spend our money correctly, and you would have thought that my former business partner, or my current business partner at the time, would have known better as a successful entrepreneur to say, hey, Jason, this is what we need to do. Make sure we spend our money, we avoid taxes legally, ethically, morally, and responsibly. Nope, we didn't do that. I remember sitting, it was a Wednesday night, there was a bunch of us guys, all of Jesus followers, got together every Wednesday night, and we shared life and stories and prayed together and sometimes studied the Bible together, and we would talk about what was going on. And I remember sharing that. It's like, guys, like I just had filed my taxes and I owe like $50,000. Oh, what am I gonna do? Now I'm gonna tell you how I handle that, just like most entrepreneurs do when they run into money problems, is they go make more money. So I went out and closed another deal, made some more money, and I captured enough cash out of that deal to pay my taxes, and then I never, ever let that situation happen ever again. Never found myself owing that much taxes, and certainly unexpectedly. So you're probably now saying, okay, Jason, this is great. Thank you for your little video on don't pay taxes. But how do I not do that? There's one specific trick that I'll tell you. The rest is up to you and your accountant. And if you want a recommendation of a bookkeeper or an accountant to help you with that stuff, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me through the comments in the video comments below or the description below. But one little trick is this, and I learned this from Mike Michalowicz, who wrote the book Profit First, and we'll put a picture of this book right here, and there'll be a link in the description to Mike's stuff and his book. He was actually a guest on my podcast, The Root of All Success, which if you're not listening to, you should go listen to that podcast, The Root of All Success. It's actually here on YouTube too. He teaches this concept called Profit First, and Profit First, where generally speaking, you're as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you see revenue, and you take out expenses, and what's left over is profit. And that's the way most businesses do it, but that's not the right way to do it. The better way to do it is revenue minus profit. You take profit first, and then whatever's left, that's the expenses. That's what you can run and operate your business on. Now that's an overly simplified version of a very good book that Mike wrote about this concept. But one of the things that tells you to take out as the business owner is you take out the tax allocation that the business owner would end up having to pay. And then that tax allocation is taken out at first, and it is sent to the IRS or the state, if you live in a state that collects income taxes. You send that out once a quarter, and it never affects your spendable income as the owner, and it never affects your owner's compensation. So if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, don't pay taxes. You've got to figure out how to avoid them legally, morally, ethically, responsibly. You've got to be able to figure out and calculate which expenses you can genuinely and legitimately put through your books so that you don't pay taxes. The tax code is written for that purpose. If it wasn't about how to get out of taxes, it would just say, calculate this % of your income and send us a check. But they don't do that. They actually say, okay, you can have this deduction, you can do this credit, you can do it this way, you can, like, that's the way the tax code is written. So, my tip for you today on what not to do as an entrepreneur is don't pay taxes. Figure it out. Work with people like me. You know, one of the things I do as a business coach and consultant is I help my customers and clients understand how to avoid them legally, morally, ethically, and responsibly, reasonably. It's not about avoiding them because you think the IRS doesn't have a legal right for taxes. Okay, we could argue that on another video. That's not today. I'm the real Jason Duncan, and my mission in life is to help people just like you get the results you want out of your business. I want to help you exit it without exiting. I want, just like I've done with my businesses. I want you to be able to live the ideal life that you truly want to live. And one of the ways you can do that is don't pay taxes. I'll see you next time on another video about what not to do as an entrepreneur.